A very good afternoon. Hi, Elsho. Good to see you. Good morning, Brian. Hope you're doing well. Got a couple of FX trades I've got running on. I'll run you through them in a minute. Hey, Brian. Gold had an interesting move, didn't it, yesterday on that? We were looking at that retest of that double top. We kind of saw that, didn't we? We were looking at that on the 4-hour double top breakout. This retracement trending lower. About 6-7% down in a couple of days. It's hard. You don't want to be catching a falling knife. That's the problem with it. Retracements, clear sell signals, great. Thing is, with the US government shut down and risk still out there, it's tricky. I find it hard to want to short gold. It's been a bit frothy, so good to see some of that froth coming out. Look at silver. That was a 7% downside. Whew. Okay, folks. Hey, Arsene. Good to see you. Ryan, good morning. Now, I want to just quickly look at this UK inflation data we had out. Now look at it. Core 3.5% below minimum expected. Headline 3.8% below the 4% expected. It was weak. Markets were expecting a firmer number. Does put the pressure on the Bank of England to say, okay, if you want to start cutting interest rates, this is the first kind of green light. UK Chancellor will be relieved to see this inflation level coming down. It just makes it easier in terms of government spending and whether the UK will have to see tax rises. The lower this number gets, the better it is for the UK economy more generally. You can see the pound sold off sharply on the data. And if you look at short-term interest rate markets, you can see now there's expectations of a December interest rate cut, right? Probably about 85-90% chance, and only 40% and 40% chance of a November interest rate cut on November the 6th. So that has opened up a euro-pound buy bias. You can see the ECB, they're kind of done with cutting interest rates. Bank of England about to start cutting interest rates. So remember that currencies are relative. So relative to each other, you would expect the euro, right, to gain against the pound. Now, I've taken a buy against this R1 pivot point. Okay, prices move. Didn't want to buy up at these highs. Prices move down to that level. We're currently testing the underside of that channel. Get through this region, right, and then I might take something off at the 8700, right, just as we come into that. So that's 690. That'd be 10 points to 700. And looking for ultimately a move to 87040. So looking for a move from here to there. All right, that's a trade I'm currently in. In fact, let me just see this. I'm just going to make some adjustments while I'm here, folks. And ideally, I want to see that hit that 8700 would be my first target. Let me just make an adjustment there. 2 seconds, folks. And I'll just put my first take profit in at 87. I want to see that breakthrough there. We'll have a look. Now, the other trade setup I like is I've just taken a dollar yen long. Now, that was on a very similar, where is it? Just going to get this here. We've had the Japanese politics. So favoring dollar yen upside, absolutely fine. And you've got a breakout now on momentum above this kind of symmetrical triangle pattern. On balance volume higher, 15-minute symmetrical triangle, breakout. And I'm looking, you got the standard deviation level is at 42. So I'm looking to see if I can get one up to 42. Oh, hey, Caroline, good to see you. So just going through a couple of currency trades. So I'm looking for a run up to 42 on that. And the euro pound is looking for a run up to 700 and then ultimately up to 704. See if I can retest that R2 pivot point. That's the kind of goal with that. You can see the yield spread has jumped between German bunds and UK gilts. So, just that the jaws widening, that gap widening. So it wouldn't be unreasonable to see if we can get a retest up to that level. Currently testing the underside of that trend line. So a bit of a challenge, but momentum, right, is still to the buy side. Be good if we could get above those highs, and that would change the momentum as well. And you'd be looking back into that range. But we shall see how far we go, if we get that far or not. Now, the broad sentiment out there is, if we look at the picture, you can see that US equity futures are trading cautious. We're quite up at these highs. Now, the earnings season so far, 85% of companies have reported an excess and are beating their expectations for their earnings, right? Very good. So earnings seasons has been good so far. There's still US administration shutdown worries, geopolitical fears. Trump has been making sort of positive sounds about his meeting with President Xi in China, but you know President Trump, there's always something going on. He is saying that November 1st tariffs on China will be about 155%. At the same time, he is meeting President Xi. So the best way to kind of describe where we're at in terms of sentiment is cautious optimism. It feels like we need a flush lower before we go higher. And it feels like investors are reluctant to sort of really pile in longs. Earnings have been quite good today. So, you know, so far so good. And there's still further earnings to come. If you look at Tesla are reporting earnings after the close, IBM after the close, and the earnings so far have been fine. There's nothing really worrying markets. Netflix has been down. That's been rating on the Nasdaq. But apart from that, the general mood is positive. We remain looking for dip buying opportunities. Now, looking at equity markets, what you can see straight away, this is it. We are just sitting right up at these highs, right underneath the key resistance. So get up and above, great. Then we can look for, you know, fresh highs. There's no reason, there's nothing against that. Otherwise, like, we're looking for a pullback and move higher, and a continued sort of consolidation under this level. Remember, the big data, we've got US CPI on Friday. So, you know, we might see markets just trading a little bit cagey until Friday. Otherwise, expecting dip buys. So any moves lower, I'm expecting to buy the dip. Now, I don't want to just get caught in this big choppy range. And yesterday we had a dip lower. I'm got to be careful. If, you know, we break out of that range, we could see a dip lower down to that 700 big round number. And we've got those single prints down here, which you'd expect definite dip buys here. So definitely would expect dip buys down there. And I know, so I wouldn't be surprised at dip buys even at that S1. So that's my bias. I'm looking and expecting and anticipating dip buys. That's my kind of expectation from the get-go. Now, looking at the hourly chart, buyers coming in, trapping some of the sellers down there. So that there is that slight buy bias from the, this is the weekly, and we've got the value area low here down to 6.7, right? 600, 6.754. So for me, my area, and I'm going to stick to my guns today, tell me if I don't, right, is I'm buying in from the 6.754 region. And if that breaks, I would also consider the 6.744. My rationale is, this is that level here where we had those sellers getting trapped. So sellers trapped there, sellers trapped here, sellers trapped there. So 444. Let me get, where is it? 5.7 and 6.754. So that, and I'm looking for these sellers here. They're chunky sellers, and if they get tested, I'm expecting that to hold. Right? I've also got a lot of buyers who came in here. So if I do get a move down to this level, right, I'm expecting that to hold. So the 5.7 and the 4.4. Right, so that's what I'm going to be looking to buy in. Now, obviously, we've got the value area high in the 15 just up into this level. I don't want to be buying in there. There are some sellers trapped down here. So maybe, like, I would consider maybe a retracement. That wouldn't be unreasonable, right? For buying from this level. But, you know, I really want a situation where sellers think they're getting into control, they're trapping all the buyers, and then they get flushed out. So a bit like yesterday, that's what I'm looking for. Because sort of fundamentally, I'm looking for this, you see? So either breakout, retest and up, breakout, retest and up, or pull back, test, potentially up. We'll see. So that's kind of what I think is the best way of looking at it today. Volatility is lower, so the mood is still constructive, but nervous. And Friday is going to be the big kind of day in terms of where inflation expectations are. Remember, interest rate markets, all they have to go on is you know, the data that's a bit historically old, and 2 interest rate cuts are expected. So that's where we're at. The 15-minute we have got some sellers trapped here by buyers. So at the open, it wouldn't be unreasonable to expect buyers down at this level here, any from 6.8 up to 7.6, something like that. So that's the sort of thing to be looking for. I'm going to leave the 15-minute chart here. I think that's probably the best. And really, I'm looking for either underneath this area and to buy in, up above or to buy in. So I prefer to be a buyer. That's my kind of thesis for the session. And then I'll also be keeping my eye on euro pound, just being capped underneath that channel for now, and dollar yen trying to break out at this level here. So that's where we're at. And this is kind of a symmetrical triangle pattern. You see the sharp break on balance volume confirming it higher. Not bad. Get above that 152 region is really where I want to get in. Just keep that here so I can keep an eye on it. And that's it, folks. So here we go. I've bought in at this drop, and I'm looking for this dip to be bought. So we got this sort of big support level we've fallen into, and expecting sort of dip buys here. I don't know if we're going to get it or not, so I'm just going to have to be careful here with this level. Another 5-minute close coming up. Sellers still dominating actually, and on the 15, so sellers are still in control of this and trying to take it a fresh move lower. Let's see what happens if buyers can defend this level. We are testing the second standard deviation, and we have this kind of value area, which is a great area for support. So I'm going to see if I can get buyers sort of coming in here. Let's see. I bought in at the two levels I was expecting to buy in on. I want to see if this can build from here. Nice support area falling into, and looking for those dip buyers still. A lot of buyers here look like they're starting to get trapped, which will be a worrying sign for buyers. Now we're retesting these lows. A lot of sellers coming in there. I can buy in one more at the 4.4 if I get down there. I bought in one more. It's very aggressive, and I've got some space on it, so I've got a little bit of room. But that's where I wanted to buy in at the 4.4. So I've bought in where I was expecting. It is aggressive, but I'm going to give it a chance. Wow, it's coming in again. Look at that. And these. See, this is a turnaround area here. So I do still rate it as a turnaround area. And 44 is where I wanted to buy in, so I'm still okay. Now let's just have a look at it structurally. Another single print. This is where I'm expecting the dip buys to come in here. So I would like some of this aggression to start fading. Just put the squawk on. Don't think I missed anything here. 1 hour. These buys here is going to be important. Do they hold? That's the question. And now we're moving back up to this region. We're trying to keep grinding higher. I've got 9 minutes left to the close. This is where I'd expect the dip buys to come in. So, I'm still holding my line. Let's see what we can do here. 2 minute 41 seconds. This is the key area here. That's where those buys were. Are they going to hold? I've just been watching this carefully up here. Now the seller's trying to come in again. Okay, now they're going to try and come in a bit of volume there. Now I want to see how this 5-minute close goes. Do we get sellers trapped down here? The sellers coming in, wee bit of aggression. What can the buyers do? Can they keep pushing it higher? Let's see. 56 seconds, 5 minute. What can they do? Can they trap these sellers? And the answer is gonna be, let's see. Yes. Right, so we've got the first potential for a turnaround there. And the hour is holding, right? So we are getting at least a little reaction there. It's quite aggressive. That's the problem with it. Now you got the seller's trap there, so potentially some buyers can come in. Let's see if we start getting buyers coming in here. That's their level to come in from, isn't it? That's good, here they come. Right, I just took all that off. Very heavy down there. Maybe that's probably the wrong time, to be honest. And I could have held that at that point. Profit's a profit, but it was just so aggressive was the problem on it. All right, folks, closed it off with a profit. Just a bit tricky. It's so aggressive. Just wanted to close that out for something really. Although you can see it's still moving. I probably could have made up to the VWAP, which would have been a smarter move really. Just a bit tricky with such an aggressive move lower. Oh. All right, folks, that's a bit of a tricky one. CNBC radio, sort of the entry came in just as I was sorting myself out from the interview, so pretty tricky. All right, folks, Hassan, Brian, Najam, good to see you, folks, and we look forward to seeing you tomorrow as well. Cheers, Najam. Cheers, Hassan. See you, Brian.